taught me to pickle memories when I was 13. It's like cucumbers, cabbages, radishes. I learned to cut them into even squares. And memories cut just like apples. The knife slides to the skin with a crisp snap. I pack them in jars, fill it all with salt, sugar, vinegar, and water. Adding herbs and spices can distort, making it harder to solve. It's a family secret. Allows you to forget. Forget what, Papa? Anything. Forgetting does not come easy to the women in our family. We all have our jars. Papa, I still don't understand what we're trying to forget here. So many questions. Here, chop this into smaller pieces. Dr. Small, professor of neurology at Columbia, speaks on the importance of forgetting. He states that forgetting allows us to think better, make better decisions, prioritize, and be more creative. However, in the process of forgetting too much, we can cut ourselves off from all the things that connect us. 1,000-Year-Old Ghost by Laura Chow Reeve. We started with minor moments. First, I chose to forget the time that Abigail Kincaid picked up my underwear from the floor of the changing room after swim practice, and she showed the whole class. Second, I chose to forget the time that I tugged on the skirt of a strange Costco woman at the checkout line because for a brief second I thought that she was my mother. And third, I chose to forget the strange recurring nightmare of being caught in an abandoned building with no way out. How do you feel? Instead of telling her I felt full and empty at the same time, I just shrugged. My mother went through my room to find and display my jars for me on the counter, and they confronted me when I got back home from school one day, my mother and my jars. Honey, I know your popo thinks this is best for you, but memories are important even when they're painful, and I'm concerned for you, both of you. I'm fine, Mom. Popo she's completely fine. No, she's not. I know your Popo thinks she can control these things, but she can't. Her short-term memory is getting worse. She doesn't show up to appointments. She forgets where she puts her things. She forgets what she eats for breakfast, and some days she can't even remember my father. I looked at the jar on the counter. I mean, it could have been anyone's jar. The liquid inside was gray, almost murky, but I wanted to remember what was in it. I wanted to push it off the ledge and see it break open. As I got older, I started to pickle the things I've been holding on to. I chose to forget the song that was playing after I kissed a boy for the first time and he wiped his lips right after. I chose to forget the woman in the grocery store who told me I was prettier because I wasn't full Chinese. I chose to forget her hands on my hair. You're so pretty, she said. I chose to forget the way my mother looked after the spinal cancer cells settled into her body for the very first time, and then I searched for words that someone should have taught me, but I couldn't find them anywhere. Popo never warned me not to let it become a habit, a practice, or a daily ritual, and my mother wasn't there anymore to find and display my jars, remind me of things I've forgotten, or witness my slow dissolve. I made my jars in large batches. I bought sugar and vinegar in bulk, and my jars overflowed and spilled onto my hands until they stung. Popo would drink a glass of salt water every night before bed. She'd take her glass, fill it with her salt, and fill it with water at the kitchen sink. I never asked for a glass, and she never offered. What is it exactly that you put in your jars? I don't remember. That is their purpose after all. But, Pua, I mean, aren't there times that you wish you remembered what was in them? Just a little bit? No. You see, sometimes I think there are not enough jars in the whole city for me to fill. Anne, grab me the measuring cups over there, please. Anne, Pua, I'm Katie. Anne was my mother. Her eyebrows furrowed. My mother was right. The symptoms she had witnessed in Popo years before were getting worse. She was shriveling, but she continued to measure and chop and Popo, please stop. This is making you sick. But she kept doing it. I'm close. Close to what? What else could you have to forget? The tears on her face looked almost milky white. I love you, but I wish I remembered how to say it the other way. And there was someone I used to say it to. Do you remember? No, Popo, I don't. Popo finished dissolving 7 years after my mother died. And by that time, her pickling process had picked up speed, and everything I loved became smaller and smaller until it fell through my permanently wrinkled fingertips. As I packed up her things, I looked for places she put herself to rest. I picked up each knick-knack. I looked in every hidden corner. I opened every drawer and took the lid off of every box, and jars were hidden everywhere. One by one, I laid them all out in the living room, and floor space was scarce. Some were stacked behind the TV, and others stuffed between couch cushions. I picked one. Now I could say it looked familiar, but who am I kidding? Of course it didn't. I tried opening it, but my hands kept slipping. I mean, either I was too weak or the jar was too strong, or whatever was inside didn't want to be opened up. So I threw it against the wall, and the liquid dripped. Glass shattered. The memory hung onto the paint, and it was Popo, cradling my mother, stroking her hair, cooing softly. It was an intimacy I'd never seen before, that I never known, that I never remembered, but that I wanted. One by one, I opened the rest. Some of them smelled rancid, like death. And these are ones of her travels from China, her first few years in San Francisco, and my mother's sickness and funeral. Others smelled like the ocean, like her husband's seawater breath, or the ones that made up her heartbreak. The ones of me smelled like vanilla yogurt and strawberries. If they had all been here, I would have told them this. First, I still long for the things that I cannot have. Second, I'm not split in two. I'm simply living in between things. And third, we are all drowning in this salt water.
You know you were able to shine.